Persona 3 Reload was the first Persona game I ever played, and I gotta say, it was great. I had a blast playing the game, but it didn't really fulfill my masochistic needs. That's why I decided to see if I could beat the game on the highest difficulty and without my friends. Now, the thing with Reload is that it allows you to remove your party members while exploring the main dungeon Tartarus, but it doesn't let you do the same thing for the full moon boss fights. And even if they fall in combat, the game just revives them as soon as the battle is over. Usually, I'm always looking forward to getting rid of my friends, but here, it's different. You see, I really like all these characters and I can't bear to see them suffer, so I needed to find a way to knock them out to make sure I would be handling every fight alone. That's why I asked the Persona specialist Mudkip for help, and he was able to give me a little tool that guarantees that my friends will always start the fight with 0 HP, ensuring that they won't ever interfere. Also, I would like to use this opportunity to thank Sega Atlus for providing me with a copy of the game. I am truly grateful. Now that we are all on the same page, it's time to experience the Dark Hour. Before starting my journey, I sat at the arcade to play some games. Normally you have to pay to use the arcade, but if you pick War Thunder, you won't have to because you can play it for free. In War Thunder, you trade the ability to summon personas for the power to control over 2,500 vehicles of 10 major nations, one of them being La France. Whether you want to fly sky high with planes, traverse the land with your tanks, or engage in naval battles, this game got you covered with vehicles spanning from the 1920s all the way up to the current age. Like this one. What do you mean my tank isn't lore accurate? Once you go on the battlefield, you will get to appreciate what I like to call the War Thunder experience. This game combines authentic sound effects, realistic graphics, and detailed vehicles into a full package that allows you to immerse yourself in the epic battles. And by partaking in these battles, you will become a proud member of the massive community of over 70 million War Thunder enjoyers. One of my favorite activities in games is customizing my units, and fortunately, War Thunder delivers in that regard. This game has a ton of decoration for all types of vehicles, so no matter what you pick, you will be able to improve the drip of your tool of mass destruction. You can play War Thunder for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox. Just make sure to sign up via my link in the pinned comment or in the description. If you are a new player or you haven't played for at least 6 months, you will get a big bonus pack across all platforms that includes multiple premium vehicles, the Eagle of Valor decoration, 7 days of premium account, and even more in-game perks. This bonus is only available for a limited time, so make sure to strike while the high run is hot. Many thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. It took longer than expected, but I arrived at the dorm and then I met this weird kid. He told me to sign a contract, so naturally, I obliged. I then gave myself the most shameless name I could think of, and I met the main cast. Yukari, Mitsuru, Akihiko, and last but not least, my favorite character in the entire game, Junpei. He's entertaining, and he also reminded me of one of my favorite characters from Xenoblade Chronicles 1, my boy Ryan. By the way, this is Miss Toriumi, one of our teachers. Is it just me or these two look extremely similar? At first I thought that she was Yukari's mom, but it turns out that they aren't related at all. Oh yeah, you wanna know what's my favorite thing to do in this game? Going to the bathroom, baby! Seriously, how often do video games let you go there? This is great! That's what I initially wanted to say, but unfortunately, they nerfed the bathroom. I didn't play the OG Persona 3, but I know that when you went to the bathroom in that game, you could actually hear the sound of the toilet being flushed. Now in Reload, all you can do is wash your hands. I couldn't accept this, so I decided to take matters into my own hands and enhance the bathroom experience with the help of sound effects. There you go, much better. It's finally time to get some sleep.
Get ready to be surprised. It'll be here any second.
You are laughing. There is a huge shadow coming to kill us, and you are laughing. Well, thanks to Aki's brilliant idea, we have no other choice than to engage the enemy. But before doing that, we get to watch one of the best cutscenes in the entire game.
Wait, leader! Please don't do this! You're going to lose!
Nah, I will win! Persona!
Sorry, looks like I got bad cuts in RNG there. Fortunately, you just need to reload the game to fix that issue. Now I just need to take care of the first tutorial fight, which is fairly simple. You just need to use Agi and the shadows should be gone in no time. You know, I think now is a good time to say that shooting yourself in order to summon your stand has to be one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I honestly don't know how they will ever top this. Also, can we talk about the fact that there is a camera installed inside my room? And these guys are spying on me whenever I sleep? Invasion of privacy, anyone?
Alright, class. Today, I'll tell you about a story I've been reading for a change. It's a story about 4 samurai who hailed from a land called the Eastern Kingdom of Mikado.
Now where have I heard that before? After everything settled down, I officially joined the gang and so did Junpei. It's good to have the man with us. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this guy. Ikutsuki. He's the adult supervising our operations and
As they say, the early bird catches the bookworm. Get it? Bookworm? Because you're students?
Yeah, his lame jokes are quite something. By the way, I discovered something interesting. So there are vending machines inside the dorm. One of the drinks they sell is called Cielo Mist, and the description states that it's a beverage imported from Jamaica. Do you know what this means? Yep, that's right. This is a digital Devil Saga reference, baby! That's my boy Cielo! Let's go! Let's go! Na 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 na. The time has come to climb Tartarus, but before I get to do my own thing, I have to complete the tutorials. No, that's not going to work. In the first tutorial, Junpei is supposed to awaken his persona and finish the shadow. I tried to see what would happen if your allies were incapacitated, and it turns out that this enemy will never die no matter how often you hit it. That's why I decided to take the L and complete all the tutorials the intended way. Once that was done, I was finally able to explore the place. And by that I mean getting my ass handed to me. The enemy variety makes surviving random encounters pretty tough if I cannot hit a weakness. Fortunately, the protagonist has the ability to switch persona during battle, which is really useful, but in order to make the most out of this ability, I need to get more personas. And to get more personas, I need to rely on shuffle time. This mechanic has a chance to activate at the end of a battle, and when it does trigger, you get to pick a card. Personally, when it comes to getting a persona, I'm not the biggest fan of shuffle time since you don't really have much control on which one you will get. I never thought I would ever say this, but I think I'm missing Demon Negotiation. It took a bit, but I was able to get 3 personas: Apsaras, BDSM Angel, as well as my beloved Pixie. And once that was done, I was finally ready to defeat the first roadblock of Tartarus. Actually, I lied, I got completely destroyed. Their damage output makes surviving fairly difficult, and since they love spamming ice attacks so much, they have a chance to freeze me. Getting frozen makes me lose a turn, and it guarantees that physical attacks will crit me, so yeah, that's no bueno. My starting persona Orpheus has Agi, which is great for exploiting their fire weakness, but it's not hitting hard enough because my guy has a piss poor magic stat. To solve my issues, I experimented with Demon Fusion inside my favorite area in the game. The Cathedral of Wait, wrong game. I meant the Velvet Room. I then created 2 personas, a Silky with Sokukaja, and BDSM Angel with Agi. This proved to be the right call because Angel's higher magic stat made my Agi stronger, and if I needed to tank some ice attacks, I could switch to Silky and put her ice resistance to good use. But what truly made the fight go smoother is the one more system. In Persona, hitting an enemy's weakness knocks them down and allows you to act again until every foe has been knocked down. This allows me to act 3 times during every player phase. Thanks to the one more system and my preparation, I was able to roast the birds on my knife attempt. As I was making my way to the next Guardian, I decided to open the chest, and that's how I found this distress. Okay, am I the only one bothered by that name? They could have just called it a distress, and it would have been a really easy W for them. Our second fight is against the Barbaric Beast Wheel and the Magic Hands. As per usual, I got bodied, and that allowed me to assess that Aramitama was the right persona for the job. Additionally, I made sure to pass down Agi and Rakunda to the little guy. Thanks to his strike resistance, as well as the spell Rakukaja, I was finally able to survive the barrage of attacks. I used Agi to get rid of the hands, and once they were gone, I decreased the defense of the wheel with Rakunda, and I swapped to Angel to blast it away with her Garu spell. With the wheel gone, I set my sight on the next target, the Swift Axle. Nekomata put in a ton of work in this fight. Her innate force resistance decreased the damage from Magaru, and thanks to Rakunda and Zio, I was able to dish out a good amount of damage. The most dangerous thing the Axel can do is buffing his attack and then destroying you with Assault Dive. It's a scary move, but thanks to the guard mechanic, I was able to survive the most dangerous turn of the fight and finish the boss with 2 Zios. And that concludes our exploration of Tartarus for now, because I've just reached a roadblock. From time to time, the game will prevent you from making progress in Tartar until certain events happen in the main story. Since I couldn't do much inside the tower, I focused on raising my social stats. At Polonia Mall, there are various activities that you can do to rank up. One of my favorites is working part-time at the Chagall Cafe because it allows you to earn money as well as gaining points in 2 social stats, Charm and Courage. Going to the arcade is also really useful since it gives you 2 points in whatever social stat you selected. You can also use the arcade to buff your personas, but I don't plan to do that for the time being. With that done, I went back inside the tower. This might sound weird to you since I can't progress at the moment, but I did that because I was looking for a specific item. And on floor 18th, I finally found it. The skill card Garula, my first medium damage dealing spell. Interestingly enough, in the Persona series, you can use skill cards to teach new moves to your demons, and that makes modifying their movesets a lot easier. With the skill in my possession, I went straight to Naganaki Shrine. Once per day, you get the ability to duplicate one of your skill cards, meaning that you essentially have an infinite supply of those, so long as you remember to do this. I duplicated Garula, and then I fused Jackie the Dragfrost. This little guy is the first demon you get access to who nullifies ice, and that's gonna be extremely useful for my next big boss fight. I taught him Garula as well as Zio and Agi for coverage. With all my prep done, it's time to tackle our first operation during a full moon. These are the segments where you are forced to bring your party members. Thanks to my little tool, I won't have to worry about my allies getting in the way, but there is something I need to show you. In case you were curious, here is what happens if you force your allies to have 0 HP at the start of a battle. To just fall down like that, and it's hilarious. Hilarity aside, Jackie and I were able to easily dispatch the numerous shadows the game sent our way, and soon enough, we got face to face with the first full moon boss, the Priestess. This was one of the fights I was really worried about, and honestly, it wasn't that bad. See, there are 2 main issues with this fight: the time limit, and also the fact that this boss has no weakness. Yeah, this is the first major boss fight, and they are already hitting me with a no weakness. I hope you are prepared, because you are gonna hear that exact sentence a ton throughout this video. What's going on with that design? She kinda reminds me of Ariara from— oh wait, another Digital Devil Saga reference! Woo! So, about that time limit. You have 30 minutes to win, which is plenty of time, but here is the thing. The Priestess can use Invitation to Chaos to decrease the amount of time you have left. Fortunately for us, her only form of offense is using powerful ice attacks that Jackie completely blocks. Another thing that she can do is summoning shadows. Unlike her, these guys can actually hit me, meaning that I have to get rid of them quickly, but you see, they are also great for abusing the one more system. During my Tartar adventures, I found some Mazio and Magaru gems. Thanks to these, I was able to hit the goons as well as the Priestess and then act again to land the Garula in her face. Eventually, the Priestess decreased the timer even more and invited a third wave of shadows. Dealing with these 2 was tough, but once they were gone, it was smooth sailing because it meant that she ran out of sims to throw my way. From there, I went for Garula and a couple of basic attacks until Discount Ariara was defeated. With the Priestess gone, I can now accept Elizabeth's requests. Some of the rewards you get for completing those are really good, so I'm gonna make sure to knock them out whenever I can. We are now in Arca, and as you can see, this section is quite different compared to the previous one. Tartar is the only real dungeon you will explore in this game, but it's divided in blocks, and each one has its own unique layout. Personally, I still prefer when the game features multiple dungeons over something like Tartar, but I think they did a good job when it comes to making this tower feel less repetitive. I went back to the entrance to fuse a Pyro Jack, and that little guy proved to be very useful against the first roadblock of Arca. Not having to deal with the fire attacks made it easier to get rid of the Lightning Eagles, and soon after, the Will-O-Wisp Raven made a similar fate. Something that caught me by surprise is that Mitsuru has unique dialogue lines for when you defeat a Tartar boss solo. I was not expecting the game to acknowledge what I was doing, and I gotta say, it feels pretty good. What doesn't feel so good, however, is dealing with the next gang squad. Immediately at the start of the fight, the Magus decided to get a cheeky hit on me before I even got my turn. It almost feels like I'm playing a real Shin Megumi Tensei game. The clown goes for 4 skills while the tables will spend their time poisoning you and casting Agi. The poison proved to be the main issue. It forces me to take a lot of damage each turn, and removing it doesn't feel worth it because the tables can just inflict it again. One thing that's good to know about poison is that it cannot kill you. So long as I can nullify the 2 elements these guys can use, I should be good to go. I looked into which demon I could fuse for this encounter, and after doing a bit of research, I realized that Fortuna was absolutely perfect for this because of her fire and force immunities. Thanks to her, I was able to turn the tables on these fools. As for the next encounter on floor 36, well, that one was pretty dicey. The disturbing dice will regularly go for Revolution, and that will allow his Slaughter Twins to crit you to death. What's interesting about Revolution is that it raises the critical hit rate of foes and allies alike, meaning that I can also use it to my advantage. With that in mind, I decided to fuse 2 demons, Zochoten and Rakshasa. Zocho has a strike resistance, making him ideal to tank attacks from the dice, and he also comes with a passive crit boost. As for Rakshasa, he's a pretty good physical attacker with a pierce resistance, so I can use him to handle the Slaughter Twins. I started the fight by dealing a bit of chip damage to the twins, and then I immediately swapped to Rakshasa and buffed my defense with Rakukaja. On the following turn, the dice went for Revolution, I tanked the shots comfortably, and then Rakshasa completely destroyed the twins with Vacuum Slash. Once they were gone, I went back to Zocho, and thanks to a crit, the dice had finally met its fatal end. Winning my last 3 fights made me pretty happy, but whatever semblance of confidence I still had quickly left my body once I had to challenge the Clairvoyant Relic. I was not looking forward to fighting this one because the relic is pretty durable and also because this boss has no weakness. And if that wasn't bad enough, it has access to a lot of medium damage spells that will easily 2-shot you or straight up 1-shot you if they hit a weakness. My biggest issue with this fight is that I didn't really comprehend how it worked. It took a while, but through trial and error I eventually found the answer. At the start of the fight, the Clairvoyant Relic will spend a turn identifying weaknesses. When I saw this, I was under the impression that it could always target my weakness, but that's not the case. Actually, the relic follows a specific attack rotation. Turn 1 it goes for Zionga, turn 2 it goes for Bufula, turn 3 it uses Garula, and then rinse and repeat. So as long as I know which attack is about to come out, I can swap to the appropriate demon to avoid taking damage. I was missing a way to block Elec, so I fused Oberon and challenged the relic once more. This time around, it went much better because I had figured out the puzzle. With Oberon I could block Zionga, with Jackie I was able to nullify Bufula, and with Fortuna, I didn't have to worry about Garula. Since I knew the attack rotation, I was always able to switch to the correct demon to avoid taking damage while slowly whittling down the relic, and after 6 minutes of combat, victory was finally mine. On a side note, I love Yukari's shift animation. She starts with the thumbs up, and then she hits you with a smirk. I don't know why, but looking at that smile makes me really happy. We are done with Tartar for now, so I went back to the real world to meet Elizabeth. If you complete enough of her requests, you get to hang out with Liz, and I gotta say, Elizabeth is
I can't get out.
How did you get in the first place, bro? What?
Woo!
Yeah, she's one of the strangest creatures I've ever seen. Liz has this childlike fascination for the things she discovers, and she's also able to perfectly articulate what it is that she appreciates. It really makes it feel like she's an alien wearing a human suit. In any case, I very much appreciate her antics. Since I had some time before the next full moon, I engage in more social activities. Oh, come to think of it, I haven't talked about social links yet, have I? There are specific characters that you can hang out with, and that allows you to raise their social link. It's kinda like Fire Emblem supports in a way. The other good thing about social links is that each one is tied to an arcana, and raising a link gives you bonus XP to demon from that arcana. This makes leveling up your demons a lot easier, which is great because it allows them to learn their skills faster. While going out with your Fire Emblem supports, you will get a couple of dialogue options, and in order to rank up faster, you need to pick the correct answer. This means that if you want to be optimal, you need to become a yes man, and it kinda makes me feel bad at times. Take Kenji for example. He's a pretty cool dude, but very early during his link, he will tell you this.
This is the secret plan I was talking about. Basically, I'm just gonna ask this girl out. But get this, she's a teacher at our school.
Oh, Kenji. Oh my god. Oh, Kenji, please. If I was a real friend, I would tell him that this is a bad idea, but since I need my points, I just keep gassing him up. Yeah, dude, this is such a good idea, bro. There you go, Kenji. You're making progress. You know what they say, age is just a number, am I right? This entire social link is like watching a car crash in slow motion, and I'm here for it. Also, can we talk about this guy? Yeah, the MC, Makoto Yuki. If I had to describe him in a single sentence, it would be, I don't care. And to illustrate my point, let me show you what happened during Maiko's social link. Keep in mind that what I'm about to show you is what you can say to a little girl in elementary school who is depressed because her parents are about to divorce.
But they get a divorce.
It's probably your fault.
They really do care about me.
Nah, they don't care.
Eventually, I made it to the infamous date of May 30th. I say infamous because it's on that day that we get to witness an interesting conversation between Junpei and Yukari.
Man, this is a tough case. Even for Junpei Iori, ace detective.
Ace detective? More like
Before we proceed, I need to play a minigame called the Yukari coin flip. You see, Yukari is about to say something to Junpei, and there are actually two different outcomes. The normal dialogue and the alternate one. So to decide which one we will listen to, I'm going to play heads or tails. The rules are simple. If I get heads, the scene will play out as usual. If I get tails, however, let's just hope that doesn't happen. Okay. Oh, here we go.
more like stupe, ace defective.
Looks like the video will not get demonetized today. So as of late, rumors about the ghost have been spreading like a wildfire at school. Naturally, we decided to investigate and Yeah, things were not looking great, but my man Shinjiro Aragaki came out of nowhere and turned this encounter into one of my favorite scenes in the entire game.
Who do you think you are, dumbass? Shit!
Can we get a replay on that, please?
We took Fuka to the gym and locked the door from the outside.
Wow, that's just disgusting. Now that we know what happened, we can begin the operation to save Fuka.
So you unlocked it earlier. Très bien.
Oui, good job.
Est-ce que quelqu'un peut m'expliquer pourquoi ces deux-là ont décidé de parler en français? Non, personne? Ok, je vais faire comme si j'avais rien entendu. Psst, hey, Yukari, there is someone behind you. So to find Fuka, we waited for the dark hour inside the room where she was locked in. That caused us to be separated, but eventually we were able to regroup and find our missing person. This scene is so funny to me out of context. Aki just casually gives her the gun and he's like, "Go on, shoot yourself. I promise you won't die." Unfortunately, while we were having fun up there, our friends at the entrance were getting ambushed. And now it's time to face our next foes, the Emperor and the Empress. I was expecting the priestess to be pretty difficult, but it turned out to be fine, so honestly, getting rid of these two should be pretty easy.
Oh shit! Here we go again.
Never mind, I lied. This was a lot harder than expected, in part due to my lack of preparation. The thing about these guys is that they start the fight with no weakness. The catch is that they can use a move to change what their weakness is. The Empress is the magic spammer of the group, while the Emperor is the physical attack enjoyer. As for their weaknesses, they will change throughout the fight, but the general idea is that the Queen is weak to physical attacks, while the King fears magic spells. Because of their team comp, it's pretty difficult to find a demon that's able to block or resist whatever these guys can do to you. The Emperor is definitely the scariest of the two because he has access to dangerous physical attacks, including a powerful move called Getsue. This attack deals more damage the closer you are to a full moon, and considering what the moon looks like right now, I'm sure you can tell why this is a problem. But I also can't forget about the Empress. If she's allowed to spam Bufula or Zionga long enough, she's bound to get a freeze or a shock on me, and that can easily lead to a game over. Getting rid of the big dude would be ideal, but sadly, my demon with a slash resistance doesn't have any spells they can target him with, so I focused on the Empress instead. Defeating her is kinda tricky because the main weakness she carries for the majority of the fight is a strike weakness. Jojo is my only stand who is able to exploit it with Assault Dive, but much to my chagrin, he doesn't resist any of the elements the duo can use. This makes attacking really risky. I'm guaranteed to take a lot of damage during the enemy phase, and also because the mere act of using physical skills is costing me HP. But by far, the worst aspect of this fight is that the bad luck I experienced during my digital Devil Saga 2 run somehow carried over. Whenever I was making progress, the Emperor would always find a way to defeat me thanks to his BS critical hits. Ah yes, right after I finally managed to defeat the Empress, the Emperor landed a critical hit, because of course he did. It took a bit of thinking, but I was able to come up with a more reliable strategy. Since I know that attacking these two is pointless before they use Paradigm Shift, I used this opportunity to buff my defense as well as my attack. Then, once their weaknesses shifted, I swapped to Jojo and I went to town on the Queen while throwing stones at the King to chip away at his health bar. It was not easy, but after a couple of assault dives, the Killer Queen finally cracked under pressure. Another one bites the dust. The King then shifted his weakness to Force, and that's when his fate was sealed. Thanks to another Rakukadra from Rakshasa, I could safely switch to Oberon, tank a Getsue, and then I was able to put the King in checkmate. You know, the more I look at the design for these two, the funnier it gets. Look at their legs! They skipped leg day so much that they turned into One Piece characters.
Hey. The full moon will be in 1 week. You know what that means, right? That's when your next rent payment is due, and your bank account is in the red right now. You should get that fixed soon. Well, anyway, good luck.
Now that the second ordeal is behind us, we get to welcome a new member in our squad, the one and only Fuka.
The enemy!
Fuka is precious and she must be protected at all costs. Not too long after that, Ikutsuki gives us our new tools of mass destruction. There is this cutscene that plays in Tartar where you get to see everyone showcasing their new gear. It's supposed to look cool, but honestly, I can never take it seriously because of how the MC walks. Like, why is he walking like that? Is he constipated or something? So the thing about this visit inside Tartar is that it served as a tutorial for a brand new mechanic, Theurgy. Every character has a gauge that will slowly fill, and once it's full, they get to use a powerful attack. Fuka also has a Theurgy that you can use to grant yourself various bonuses during combat, but for the sake of this run, I'm not going to ever use that feature. That being said, there is one thing that I will allow Fuka to do during combat, and it's scanning enemies to reveal their weaknesses. This is something that I would normally look up on the internet, but since Fuka can do it for me, it will just save me some time. Unfortunately, the Theurgy tutorial is yet another instance where we have to use party members. Just like last time, we are gonna pretend that this didn't happen, but hey, at least we get to see Yukari's really cool looking Theurgy. What's interesting about Theurgy is that it works a bit differently for the MC. You get access to multiple of them, and the way you unlock those is by acquiring all the demons involved in the Theurgy. For example, since I already have Jack Frost and Pyro Jack, I can unlock their combined attack called Jack Brothers. It's an almighty attack with a decent chance to knock down the enemies, and it's really useful for getting rid of the rare shadows. During the month of June, I spent more time working on my social links. Thanks to that, I was able to max out the Chariot Arcana as well as the Emperor. Kaz was one of the links I wanted to complete ASAP because it's a really enjoyable one. I also did it because it's tied to the Chariot Arcana, and that will be relevant for a specific demon I want to fuse later down the road. Another interesting social link I want to talk about is the Hermit. Very early on, Junpei will give you a game called Innocent Sin Online. This is the MMO that you can play on Sundays, and doing so will allow you to chat with another player that goes by the name of Maya. So let me get this straight. The game is called Innocent Sin, you talk to someone called Maya, and the surname they give you is Tatsuya. I see what you did there, Atlus. The man straight. XD. You can't even spell damn right. Oh my god. Lol. We are supposed to be leveling, but we just keep on chatting. Column 3 C? Why do you add a C there? As much as it pains me to read whatever atrocities Maya loves typing, I do have a good reason for enduring that outside of raising her social link. Some social links are hidden behind other links. In Maya's case, once you reach rank 4, she will tell you about the man from TV who visits the mall at night. After that, you will be able to meet said man. You then just need to fork over 30k Maka. Wait. You just need to fork over 30k yen in total, and that will allow you to experience the best social link this game has to offer. President Tanaka. This guy has a home shopping show that you can catch every Sunday where you can buy some useful items. And let me tell you, the song that plays during the show is so catchy I can't get it out of my head. It's amazing commodities. I'm going to do it. Good. Not bad, kid. Thanks, kid. Bye-bye. My favorite thing about this social link is that Tanaka has some very creative ways to threaten you to make sure you don't reveal to the public that he has been scamming a teenager.
If you go back on your word, I'll edit your face into the most obscene material I can find.
Thank you for the words of wisdom, Tanaka. It's around that point that Elizabeth will introduce us to the concept of missing persons. From time to time, people will get lost in Tartarus and you have to rescue them. Doing so is recommended because you can get some pretty useful items that way. Speaking of Tartar, it's time to make more progress. Before doing that though, I just need to fuse a Pisaka real quick and then I should be good to go. Wait. I can't skip. Is that a fusion accident? Oh, I think it is. No joke, this is the first fusion accident I ever got while playing this game. I decided to keep this Legion and I'm glad I did because he ended up coming in clutch for a big Tartar fight. The servant tower got clapped and then I faced the lascivious lady and her wrestlers. Wait, is it just me or do these guys look like Hulk Hogan? These three also got bodied fairly quickly, but things got harder when I had to defeat the fleet-footed cavalry because this guy has no weakness. I didn't feel like poking this knight for 10 minutes, so instead of doing that, I used a strategy that I learned from the previous fight. The thing about the lascivious lady is that she also has no weakness. Okay, for real, the reason why I remember her is because her entire strat is centered around using stagnant air to make you more susceptible to ailments. This is something that I can also do with foul breath, so I tried to see if poison would work on the cavalry and to my surprise, it actually did. The only issue is that I had to use Legion to achieve this and that guy just kept getting destroyed because of its weakness to pierce. It took some maneuvering around, but I was able to use my foul breath to poison the knight without dying. It got close though. From there, I just had to stall until the poison brought the boss low enough, and then I ended the fight with a basic attack. I found something pretty useful inside the chest on floor 54. The muscle shard gives you an innate resistance to charm, and I think this will come in handy for a future boss fight. Oh yeah, it's also around that point that we get introduced to Strega. This guy is called Revolver Jesus and he's their leader. You will hear more about them later. Last time my lack of preparation ended up costing me a lot, so to prevent that from happening again, I put extra care into my fusions. The next two bosses are infamous because of the ailments they can inflict. Fear and I meant fear and charm. I thought about getting skills to nullify those two, but I didn't feel like grinding to get them, so I fused the two demons I needed, and I gave them resist fear and resist charm. Oh yeah, about those demons, let me introduce them to you. First, we have Jikokuten. I fused this guy because he quickly gets access to one of the best skills to defeat full moon shadows. Getsue Gaming, or GG for short. As for my second demon, it's gonna be Mithras, who is also going to use Getsue Gaming. The main reason I fused him was because of his fire drain, and you will soon see how useful that trait can be. But we aren't done yet, because I have a third demon I want to show you. Take Mikazuchi. I got this guy because I wanted to have a demon with Auto Tarukaja, Rakukaja, and Sukukaja. The way the auto skills work is that they give their corresponding buff at the start of the battle if your lead demon has them. So as long as I have Take Mikazuchi equipped, I'm guaranteed to start every fight fully buffed, and that's really strong. And now it's time to explore my favorite area in the entire game.
Champs de floors? How do you say that?
Alors, vois-tu, Junpei, cet établissement s'appelle Champ de Fleurs.
It's Champ de Fleurs. It means field of flowers.
Oui, exactement. Très bien, Mitsuru. Listen, French is my first language. This game is giving me a rare opportunity to use that to my advantage, and I would be a fool not to take it. Get it? Fool? Because my arcana is... So, Le Champ de Fleurs is a love hotel. Even if you've never been inside one, I think it should be pretty obvious to tell what a love hotel is used for. And let me tell you, this is one of the funniest areas to explore in this game. You see, during the dark hour, regular people turn into coffins. Why am I telling you this, you may ask? Well, that's because combining these two things allows you to understand what's happening here. In one of the rooms, you will find a coffin on the couch, indicating that someone is probably sleeping on it. But then, in another, you will find two coffins on top of each other. Yeah, that's definitely what I would call a twosome time. But wait, it gets even better because in room 304, there are 3 coffins on the bed. I love how Junpei reacts when he realizes what's going on here. What I did find weird though, is that in one of the rooms, Junpei got worried that the shadow would come out of the TV. Come on, Junpei, everyone knows that there is no such thing as a shadow inside the TV. Also, there is this scene where the shadows try to get Yukari and I to revel in the moment, to embrace our desires. How?
And how about we don't mention this to anyone? Got it?
Hey, it's not my fault if you always find yourself in these awkward situations. What I find pretty funny about this scene is what happens right after you meet with the rest of your crew. For this mission, alongside Yukari, I also went with the boys, and let me tell you, Aki's reaction is priceless. I don't know what happened between them, and honestly, I think it makes this interaction funnier. Okay, that's enough fun for now. We've got a job to do. I equipped the Gallant sneakers because of their resist fear bonus, and then I was ready to face the first boss of the Love Hotel, the Hierophant. By the way, if you are wondering what this guy is weak to, this boss has no weakness. What makes this thing annoying is that it can inflict fear with Doomsday Doctrine, a status effect that will make you lose press turns. Turns. But if you ask me, the hardest part of the fight is not getting distracted by the jiggle physics. I could describe to you what happens next, but I'm gonna show it instead. Behold, the power of Getsue Gaming! Yep, this attack is amazing. I then knocked down the boss with Jack Brothers, and it was GG for the Hierophant. Be gone. Well, that was... that was fast. Jesus Christ. Very well, there's only one target left. The Lovers. Some of you might be worried because this thing looks pretty tough, but don't you worry. There is no way I would lose.
Here we go again.
Well, this is what I get for talking shit. During my first playthrough, the Lovers gave me a ton of trouble. Fast forward to today, and it looks like some things never change. This boss has it all. Damage output, durability, degenerate chi strats, and of course, this boss has no weakness. You know things are getting serious when the boss pulls out Agidan while you are still in the early parts of the game. Thanks to my auto buffs and Getsue Gaming, I'm able to deal a lot of damage very quickly, but that doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things, because Lovers is scripted to use Diorama to recover 1.5k HP. Fortunately, this only happens once, so dealing damage shouldn't be an issue. If I could stay alive, that is. What you just saw is the other issue I have with this fight. Holy Arrow. That's the name of the attack, but personally, I prefer calling it Bullshit Arrow. I don't know if this is bad luck or if it's because I'm playing on Merciless, but whenever Lovers goes for Holy Arrow, it always results in a critical hit. This is really annoying because critical hits allow the boss to act again. But what really makes the Lovers tough is that it will use Seductive Breath to make you more susceptible to ailments, and then it will hit you with a sexy dance that's pretty much guaranteed to charm you. I thought that my resistance would help, but I was dead wrong. Outside of losing turns, what makes being charmed really annoying is that Lovers can hit you with Heartbreaker, a move that deals more damage to a foe that's charmed. You might think that my countless losses made me despise this boss, but that wasn't the case at all. In fact, I was actually thankful because it was thanks to all these deaths that I managed to learn the boss's attack rotation. As expected, Mithras proved to be the perfect demon for the job. Thanks to his fire absorption, I was able to turn the dangerous Agidine into a free heal. After confirming my choice of demon, I needed to find an answer for the two other issues I had with the fight. Luckily for me, there's an easy way to deal with both, and it's called guarding. While guarding, you cannot get inflicted with a status ailment, so using that mechanic at the right time allows me to deal with sexy dance. The other cool thing about this mechanic is that critical hits cannot happen while you are guarding. And what makes this information so useful is that I can tell exactly when the boss will go for Holy Arrow. The game plan of the lovers is to charm you with sexy dance, then hit you with the Heartbreaker, and then go for the Holy Arrow. Holy Arrow is guaranteed to come out after Heartbreaker, so right after the lovers tries to break my heart, I just need to guard to ensure that I can survive the arrow, and then on the following turn, I will get healed by Agidine. Speaking of Heartbreaker, what's interesting to know about this move is that it's guaranteed to remove the charm status when it hits. Even if it makes me waste some turns, I can always count on the lovers to cure it for me, thus allowing me to consistently guard against the bullshit arrow. With everything figured out, it's time to show you my new strategy. At the start of the battle, I used Jikokuten to deal a lot of damage with Getsuei Gaming. Normally, using this demon would be pretty risky because he has a fire weakness, and the boss can use Agidine, but here is the thing. The lovers will only start using Agidine after the mist goes up. Thanks to this info, I can make the most out of Jikokuten, and then once Seductive Breath is used, I can swap to the real star of the show. This fight was a tough one to crack, but I managed to solve it, and in the end, all it took was one last GG to break the lover's heart. Alright, Getsuei Gaming, be gone. GG. Oh yeah, there is something that I forgot to show you. During this fight, Yukari, who is clearly pissed off at the lovers because of the incident, gets a unique dialogue that allows her to max out her fear G gauge. This is how it works normally, but because I have forced my allies to start the fight with 0 HP, here is what happens instead. Alright, fall down.
Unforgivable. I'll never forgive you for that!
She got up?
Mind manipulation.
Alley-oop!
Wait, did you just say...
Oh yeah! Rhyme time, baby! Alley-oop! 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 Alley-oop!
Unfortunately, what follows is one of the most embarrassing moments I've ever seen in this game.
How can you blame us for wanting to talk to such beauties?
These guys are full of shit.
Ah, the cringe! Ah, the cringe!
Well, we gotta go now. We're meeting our boyfriends back at the villa for a barbecue. You can come if you want. Bye.
That was truly cringeworthy.
Oh, you're so smart. I think you're just my type.
Wait, did we actually succeed? There is no way.
You know that sun in the sky isn't real, right? That's an artificial sun that got sent into space back in the 1980s.
Huh?
You didn't know? Turns out that sun sends out harmful rays that mess with your body's equilibrium. Normal sunscreen doesn't work.
Never mind, she's crazy! Screw this, I'm out. I almost died from the cringe, but enduring this was worth it, because now I can introduce you to another one of my favorite characters. Hello.
Huh?
Have you heard of the critically acclaimed JRPG Shin Megami Tensei? She's gone. After what I can only describe as one of the chase scenes of all time, I finally catch up to the mysterious girl. Or rather, she catches me.
What? You freaking kidding me?
He didn't even say anything to her.
This is Aegis, an anti-shadow weapon. She's going to join our squad, and I'm really happy about it because Aegis is an amazing character. Okay, since we are back, I can tell you about this new facility I have unlocked. This is Mayoido, a place where I can trade gems for really useful gear and items. I cannot really purchase anything yet, but this will definitely prove to be useful in the future. So you remember how Tartar looked, right? Now it's different. Welcome to Yabasha. King Frost was one of the new demons I fused for this section, and thanks to his help, I completely destroyed the first Tartar fight. The second one though, yeah, it's pretty rough. So after getting bodied once, I decided to try again and check out what happened in the rematch.
3 targets. They're weak, but don't be careless.
Bro, I didn't even get to play the game. What?
You're hurt. Do you have any healing? You're hurt.
What is this stupidity? I did not even get to play the game.
Huh?
Wow.
Later. Say something.
Thank you, Persona 3 Reload. Is this really Persona? Because it really feels like I'm playing Shin Megumi Tensei right now. In this specific formation, the Arcanist Decapitator is the biggest threat because unlike his two buddies over here, this boss has no weakness. More importantly, he has all the elemental spells and doesn't seem to follow a pattern, so it's pretty hard to prevent him from exploiting your weaknesses. I tried to see if the good old toxic stall strat would work, but this guy is immune to poison, so that won't work. As I was reflecting on what I could do to solve this issue, I heard Fuka talking, and what she said during one of my attempts was quite insightful.
This one looks short-tempered. Maybe you can anger it.
Anger it. When I thought back about what she said, I had a neuron activation moment. If it's easy to anger it, then maybe this boss is susceptible to the rage status. To confirm this, I fused Aramitama because it has access to the skill Provoke as well as Rage Boost. I then used the skill on the boss and to my surprise it actually worked. The Rage status forces whoever is affected by it to spam basic attacks until it wears off. This is fantastic because now I have a guaranteed way to prevent the Arcanist from using his dangerous spells. This single piece of information completely changed the flow of the fight, and thanks to Fuka, the time had finally come to tip the scales. As for the rest of the Tartar fights, they went pretty well thanks to Eligor and his two powerful pierce attacks. Regarding those Tartar fights, I have to mention the Deviant Convict. My guy just spent 10 years boosting his strength with every buff you can think of, only to have his Omega attack repelled by a mirror. Well, at least you tried. Before we leave, there is something I wanna show you. Once you reach Yabasha, you will be introduced to two new mechanics. The first one is called the Monad Door. Wait, let me try this again. Monad Door. I don't know if it's just me, but saying these two words back to back sounds weird. I'm not going to do that again, so instead, I will just call this door the Monado.
This is the Monado's power!
The Monado is a door that can appear randomly while you are exploring. Inside those, a boss will be waiting for you. Defeating a Monado boss is pretty useful because doing so will trigger a special shuffle time where major Arcana cards are more likely to appear. Usually they are kinda rare, but thanks to the Monado, we have a more consistent way of obtaining them. Also, after beating the boss inside the Monado, you can loot some chests and those are guaranteed to have materials that you can use to craft gear at Mayoido. So that's how it works for the first mechanic. For the second one, it's called the Monado Passage. The main difference with the doors is that the Monado Passage is not random. It always appears on a fixed floor. There are valuable treasures to be found inside those, but in order to get them, you will have to face a gauntlet of powerful shadows. The best way I could describe to you how the Monado experience feels is that it's a wild ride, this passage of fate. The first boss of the Monado Passage is the cowardly Maya, who has no weakness. It doesn't look like much at first, but as soon as you enter in battle, it somehow triples in size, gets the first turn, goes for concentrate, and then hits you with Megiddo. It can definitely throw you off, but as long as you guard at the right time, it should not be too difficult. The second Monado fight on the other hand, that one gave me a bit more trouble. You know, I just noticed that this game loves doing this thing where it only shows one enemy model, but then as soon as the battle starts, it hits you with the surprise gang squad. So, let me introduce you to our new friends. We have the Rampage Drive who has no weakness, the Magical Magus who has no weakness, and last but not least, the Shouting Tiara who has no... wait. Oh, it's weak to strike? Huh, that's new. Getting rid of the Tiara is the top priority because it's able to use Makara-Khan and Tetra-Khan to protect his bodies. By the way, about these two spells, in SMT the repel shields only last for one turn, and then they wear off, but in Persona, they will stay active until they get triggered. This also means that in Persona, you can have both Tetra-Khan and Makara-Khan active on the same unit. Getting used to these changes was a bit tricky, but thanks to Mithras, I was able to get rid of the Tiara as well as the Magus. After that, my King Frost took care of the Rampage Drive. To prepare for the next ordeal, I decided to do a couple of things. I went to Mayoido and I purchased the sword called Utenta Mitsuyo. This weapon has the built-in skill Counter-Strike, and that one gives me a 15% chance to reflect physical attacks. Since my level was high enough, I also made sure to fuse a Black Frost. This is great not only because Black Frost is a solid demon, but also because having him and King Frost allows me to unlock a new theurgy, King and I. And while everything I've said so far has been interesting, it pales in comparison to what I'm about to do next. Ladies, gentlemen, and demons, I am finally strong enough to summon the ultimate warrior. He is the legendary wielder of the Dark Sword Gaming and a fan favorite of the channel. Without further ado, let us celebrate the arrival of our Giga Chad. At last, Giga Chad Oni has joined the team. And you can tell that he is truly a Chad because in this game, Oni has no weakness. I made sure to teach him Getsue Gaming, as well as increasing his chances to crit by giving him Apt Pupil and crit rate boost. Our next fall lies deep inside the facility used during wartime, and honestly, it's a pretty fitting location considering what we are about to face. The War Thunder tank is one of the hardest full moon shadows to take down because it has no weakness. And if that wasn't bad enough, it also resists everything. What you are meant to do here is using your Fear G because Fear Gs bypass resistances. As soon as you do that though, you will understand what's truly going on. Yeah, this is actually a 2 versus 1 against a Chariot who has no weakness. And Justice, who has no weakness. By the way, do not be fooled by the size of this lad. Meta Knight is a real menace here because he spams instant kill light attacks all day every day. I kinda forgot to account for this during my team building, so I kept getting one-shot by Amala. To help with this, I have an item in my inventory called the Homunculus. This thing will take the hit for you whenever an instant kill move procs, which is great, but I can't rely on it forever because my supply is not infinite. Another thing that you need to keep in mind for this fight is that both shadows need to be defeated at the same time because if one of them survives, it will revive the other. For this one, I had to take the slow and steady approach. Whenever they were assembled, I kept stalling until I could use King and I, and once they were separated, I dealt a bit of cheap damage to both enemies. After 14 minutes of back and forth, my Floros' torrent shot was enough to force the Decepticons to separate, and then all it took was another King and I to win the war.
Good evening.
It's you again, the cryptic kid.
I have a serious problem.
Leave me alone, cryptic kid. I have exams tomorrow.
It all began the first time I got to Ikebukuro.
Wait, hold on. Is that...
When I finally reached the town.
Oh no.
I was greeted by the biggest...
I remember this.
...manliest demon I've ever seen.
Wait, are you reading the copypasta?
Oni is perfect.
Oh my god, no, stop. No, I cannot hear you. I cannot hear you. You're not real. You're not real. You are not real. I'm going to sleep. During the months of August and September, we got a lot of new members. The first one was Koromaru, and yes, he is a dog. If you were wondering if there was more to this, no, that's it. He's just a dog. A very good boy, though. You know, if I had a nickel every time I saw a dog stand user joining a group, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's kinda weird that it happened twice. Our next recruit is Ken Amada, who is a child. Bro, he's still in elementary school. This game is wild. Like, seriously, imagine trying to explain this to someone who doesn't have the context. And last but not least, Shinji finally joins our squad, after getting bothered by Aki for the 15th billionth time. For reasons that I do not comprehend, Revolver Jesus and I found ourselves on the bridge against a discount version of Abaddon. I cannot control Jesus, so I decided to let him do his thing while I kept guarding. Alright Jesus, I know you want to show off. Please end this already.
As a reward for your efforts, let me show you my power. Come! Here is an offering of come!
Thank you, Jesus. Clearing the second block of Yabasha went very smoothly thanks to my goated Black Frost. He gets access to Agidyne and Bufudyne very early, and eventually, he learns Resist Light, a passive that allows him to cover his only weakness. That's right, we can officially say that Black Frost has no weakness. Around that point, Mamoru Hayase's social link becomes available, the Star Arcana. I used the remainder of my time to work on this one because I wanted to power level Setenta. I was able to reach rank 5, and that gave me enough EXP to ensure that Setenta could learn Charge. Now my physical attacks will hit a lot harder. I also fused Hecaton Kairos, and he's going to be my opener persona from now on. Honestly, I have to say that I was pleasantly surprised by Hayase's social link. Ever since his dad died, it's been very difficult for his family financially. He's an athlete who has been working really hard not just because he loves track and field, but also in hopes of obtaining a scholarship, his only chance to go to college and make things easier for his mother. He also learned that he is kind of a local hero because all the restaurant owners allow him to eat without paying because they understand his situation. This one easily goes in my list of favorite social links in this game. Below Tanaka, of course, because let's face it, Tanaka is the best social link in the game.
If you break your promise, well, I guess I can trust you. Run along now.
Thank you, Tanaka. I hope I meet you again in the future Persona games. So, I guess, you said that you wanted to talk, right? Well, what's up?
In this scene, the main character says, "That ass better not crack under pressure." Usually, people's asses are already cracked. Yours is as well, right?
This might be hard to believe for some of you, but no, this is not one of my silly edits. This is a real line of dialogue in this game. Can you please stop?
I can always verify this by searching my database. However, I suspect it will currently be faster to investigate manually.
Manually? I guess no! Leave my ass alone! Now get this. I have managed to max out both Courage and Charm, but Academics is still at 3. Dude, why is this stat so hard to level up? Thinking about Academics annoys me, but you know what brings me happiness? Seeing my man Junpei thrive. So as of late, he's been meeting this girl at the park. At first the conversation wasn't going anywhere, but as they kept meeting, it got better and better. And you can tell that it's actually going somewhere because the girl not only told him her name, but she's also expecting his next visit. I am really looking forward to seeing more of these two. But that will have to wait, because we need to take care of a new full moon shadow, the Hermit. This guy is actually pretty easy because his electric attacks don't even hurt that much. Oh, so yeah, this guy is actually pretty easy because he... Okay, there is no point in lying anymore. Getting paralyzed by powerful elect moves wasn't that great, so naturally, I used Setenta because he could nullify those. Unfortunately, doing that made me quite vulnerable to the Hermit's powerful physical attacks. This was quite unexpected, so I had to devise a strategy on the fly, and after looking at my demon for a couple of minutes, I found what I was looking for. To prevail, I used 4 demons: Hecaton Kairos, Setenta, Shiki-Oji, and Giga Chad Oni. The Hermit doesn't start vaporizing you immediately, so I used Setenta to click charge, and then I swapped to Giga Chad Oni to deal damage. To fix the issue I had previously regarding physical attacks, I used Shiki's Tetrakarn. Since the shield stays active until triggered, I was able to protect myself while also dealing decent damage to the boss with his own gigantic fist. As for Hecaton, I was able to use his concentrate spell to ensure that my Fury would hit a lot harder. Eventually, I got to the second stage of the fight. This is when the Hermit will try to increase the potency of his elect attacks by powering up, but here is the thing. I don't have to sit there and watch him power up. I can just interrupt that. With the help of Setenta's charge and Giga Chad Oni's Getsuwei gaming, I was able to keep the Hermit in a loop where it was never able to fully charge. I think that pissed him off though, because once he was low enough, he used accelerated charging to go into overdrive. But that was too little too late. My concentrate boosted King and I brought him very low, and then, once I switched to my Giga Chad, I was able to send the Hermit back to his basement. Come to think of it, I haven't seen Junpei tonight. Oh, that's right. Shidori tried to commit Persona 3, but luckily Junpei was fast enough to prevent that from happening. And this is why Junpei is the man.
I am a shadow, the true self.
We are now in September, and Tartar's layout has changed once more. This region is easily my favorite. I don't know why, but I really vibe with the ancient temple in a sandy location aesthetic. I gotta say, playing solo like this has made me enjoy the game even more. Being solo gives me total control over my weaknesses. Even if I can't block an enemy's attack, at least I can make sure that I'm not weak to it. The same cannot be said about your party members, and it can be very annoying at times. I swear, whenever I had Yukari in my party, every fight would play out like this. It looks like you brought a teammate who is weak to a leg. It would be such a shame if I had Mazyonga! With each new victory against the Tartar bosses, my level kept rising and rising until I finally got to the breakpoint I wanted to reach since the very beginning of this run, level 56. This is a pretty important milestone because I finally have the right to summon one of the best personas in the entire game. After reaching my goal, I left Tartar, maxed out Yuko's Strength Social Link to ensure that my soon-to-be persona would get the biggest EXP boost, and then I headed inside the Velvet Room. Now, ladies, gentlemen, and demons, I am happy to announce that a new recruit is about to join the rank of Giga Chad alongside Oni. This is Siegfried, aka Sig Chad, aka Critfried. He can deal a lot of damage to a single target with Brave Blade Gaming. He can also do the same thing against a group of enemies with Deathbound Gaming. He is the earliest demon who gets access to Crit Rate Amp, and when you combine that with stuff like Apt Pupil, you can turn Siegfried into a Critfried. He also learns Slash Amp, and you can combine that with Slash Boost to ensure that every enemy standing in your way will end up like Fafnir. Now that I have gained access to a new auto skill, I decided to remake my Hecaton in order to pass down Auto Rebellion. Thanks to this passive, I will always get the critical rate buff at the start of a battle. By the way, Siegfried isn't just goated because of his toolkit. It's also because having him and Mithras unlocks one of the craziest theurgies in the game, Scarlet Gaming.
Critical hits and death should mean the same to you.
This is a severe slash AoE that deals a stupid amount of damage, and it can also crit, meaning that its damage can get even stupider. But as great as Siegfried is, he still has one big flaw. If an enemy blocks slash, well, he can't deal damage. Or so you thought! This is where Scarlet Gaming comes in, because just like the other theurgies, this move ignores resistances. Also, something that I like is that Giga Chad Oni was involved in the fusion process to create Siegfried. That's right, Giga Chad Oni walked so that Siegfried could run. Don't get me wrong, I love my Giga Chad, but I gotta say that Scarlet Gaming is really busted for when you get access to it. Things wouldn't be that interesting if I kept using it for every fight, which is why I made an important decision after unlocking it. You will see what I mean once we get to October 4th. Oh, also, while rescuing missing persons, I stumbled upon this guy. I could rescue him as well, but something kinda tells me that he deserves to be here, so I will just leave him be.
夢か。俺は夢を見ているのか。だが、まただ。ここは。俺は確かローマのティベレ川にいて、そしてあの感覚は死体置き場で味わったあの想像を絶する苦痛は。俺は何回死ぬんだ。次はどこからいつ襲ってくるんだ。来るな。来るな。俺のそばに近寄るな。
One activity that you can do at the dorm during the evening is cooking with one of your friends. If you do that, you get items that you can use in battle. Out of all the candidates, my favorite one is my boy Shinji because his meals fully heal you. Yeah, it turns out that Shinji is a really good cook. He's a pretty cool guy, and for some reason, I feel like the food he gave me will come in handy in the future. Oh, by the way, while looking for something to buy at Mayoido, I stumbled upon these 4 bracers. Do you know why they are important? Well, it's because their names are references to the Atma avatars, the demon forms of the protagonists of Digital Devil Saga, baby! Woo! Another DDS reference, yo! And now I should be ready for October 4th. Who am I kidding? No, I'm not ready. But it's too late to turn back. At the start of the fight, Strength will turn Fortune into a fake PNG. This prevents you from targeting Fortune until Strength is gone, but you gotta be careful because Fortune can still attack you. These two can be very tricky to defeat, but don't you worry because as long as I have Siegfried by my side, I cannot lose. Ah, yes, she landed a crit on me, because of course she did. In my second attempt, Scarlet Gaming completely deleted Strength in one shot. I was expecting Fortune to also go down easily, but that's when I learned something. No matter how hard you hit his shadow, Fortune is guaranteed to survive and spin its wheel one last time. And when it does this, something terrible happens. Oh. Oh, no. Don't do this to me. Ah! What's gonna happen? Oh. Ah, sorry, I lied. That last spin is not dangerous. What is dangerous, however, is the fact that Fortune can still act after spinning the wheel. What you really need to watch out for during this fight is the Wheel of Fortune. Every turn, Fortune will spin the wheel, and it can either land on the blue effect or a red one. If it's blue, it triggers a positive effect for the entire field, like giving concentrate to the enemies and you as well. If it's red, everyone takes fixed damage. This makes the red spots really scary, especially the 300 one. If I'm not careful with my HP and Fortune lands on the 300 tile, it's a guaranteed GG. With this in mind, for my 4th attempt, I always made sure to have over 300 HP at all times. Strength got clapped by Siegfried, Scarlet Gaming took Fortune down to 1 HP, and after surviving a Garudine, Brave Blade Gaming took care of the rest. And now, Brave Blade Gaming! Siegfried! Be gone! So, throughout my adventure, I've been using Theurgies and they always felt like they were balanced. Until I got access to this one. After seeing how ridiculous Scarlet Gaming was in this fight, I decided that I would do the remaining main boss fight without using Theurgy. For the Tartar bosses, however, I'm not going to hold back. At this point, they really don't matter anymore, so I don't mind speeding up the process of climbing the tower. Hold up, where are Amada and Shinji? Oh no. Hey buddy, you are pointing the gun in the wrong direction. You are supposed to do it like this. Are you stupid?
Shinji! Hang in there!
Aragaki! Senpai!
Okay. Look after him.
I will.
This is how it should be.
Yup. Shinji just died, and that's why I wasn't looking forward to October 4th. As a Shin Megami Tensei masochist, I have a built-in resistance to physical trauma, but the drawback is that I'm weak to emotional damage. In the moment, I was mostly shocked, so the impact of his death didn't really hit me. But as time went on, I got sadder and sadder when I thought about him. I was holding on pretty well for a bit, but then I got to the scene with Aki and yeah, I couldn't hold back the tears anymore. But you wanna know what really got to me though? After Shinji's passing, you can enter inside his room. Inside the box, you will find what he was wearing at the time, as well as a skill card. And in my case, the name of that card was Fatal End. Like, is this some kind of twisted joke? Also, if you try to enter inside his room again, you will get the message that reads, "The room where Aragaki used to live is now empty. Now, only memories remain." This one really hurts. It took 10 billion years, but at last, I was able to max out academics. After thinking about it, I remade my Siegfried, and this time, I used Isoju in the fusion process. Since the monk has Null Dark, that allows me to pass down that skill to my newly fused Giga Chad. With his only weakness covered, I can finally say that Siegfried has no weakness. This guy is never going to leave my team, so to make sure he would keep getting stronger, I started using the arcade. Depending on the day, you get the option to boost a persona's strength, magic, or agility. And after picking an option, your persona will gain 3 points in that stat, which is pretty crazy. Oh, this is totally unrelated, but Decarabia and Forneus have a theurgy in this game that's called Best Friends. I just wanted to show it once because it's a nice little reference to Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne, the game where their friendship was introduced. Alright, it's November 3rd, and that means that we can challenge the last full moon shadow. But before we get to do that, we need to defeat Jesus, who has no weakness, and his apostle Jin, who also has no weakness. In the past, this would have bothered me, but it's not an issue anymore because I can land critical hits thanks to Siegfried! What makes this fight unique is that these two are capable of doing something that no other enemies in the game can. Yup, these two can use the shift command, the same mechanic you've been using throughout the game. Unless you are like me, of course, and you have no friends. It's really cool, but they won't be able to use it against me because I have Siegfried! In order to use shift, you need to hit a weakness, and as you guys already know, my Siegfried has no weakness. Thanks to him, I was able to win this battle on my first. Come! Wow, nice miss, bro. In the second attempt, I got cheesed by Jin's flash grenade. This move has a chance to confuse you, and if you get confused, it's pretty much GG, because you can't control your character anymore. To fix my issue with flash grenade, I equipped the hero Sneakers, because that body armor nullifies confusion. The only downside about using it is that its defense is pretty low compared to the other armor I was wearing. This made surviving harder, but thanks to Null Dark, it wasn't as bad as it could have been because I was able to block Jesus' dark spells. The duo fought well, but they weren't able to stop my Giga Chad. In the end, I was able to get rid of them in one fell swoop with the power of Deathbound Gaming.
I'll go with Siegfried! Looks like this is it. This can't be.
Ah, there you go, you are finally pointing that thing in the right direction. Now please commit Persona 3. Alright then, with this nuisance out of the way, I can tackle our last enemy, the Hanged Man, who has no weakness. Okay, this fight is actually insane. You need to defeat the statues created by the shadow in order to make him fall. Once he's on the ground, you can hit him, and after taking enough damage, the Hanged Man will summon more statues, then go back up. In total, there are 3 waves of statues. The first wave at the start of the fight, the second wave, and then the final wave with 1 giant statue. Dealing with the first 2 waves isn't too bad, because most of what they can do gets blocked by Siegfried! But it gets more complicated once the big statue shows up because this one has no weakness and resists every single element except Almighty. And to make matters worse, the only thing this one does is spamming Megiddola. Megiddola takes away a sizable chunk of HP, and when you combine that with the amount of HP I lose each time I go for Brave Blade Gaming, getting rid of the statue safely becomes a lot more complicated. And you do need to be careful because as soon as the statues are gone, Hanged Man will fall down, then attack you right away, and that can get pretty bad if your HP is too low. This is why critical hits are so valuable in this fight. If I defeat all the statues with a crit, the Hanged Man will fall as usual, but then I will get my 1 more, allowing me to set up with charge or heal myself before he gets a chance to act. With this knowledge in mind, I was able to get rid of the statues and deal a ton of damage whenever the Hanged Man could be attacked, but things took a turn for the worse once I got rid of the second wave. It's at that point that the Shadow will reveal his most dangerous move, Grim Transcendence. Oh, sorry, I meant Beast Eye! Beast Eye allows the Hanged Man to act 3 times in a row, and if you thought this was bad, oh trust me, it gets worse. After the last statue is defeated, Hanged Man will be capable of chaining this move, meaning that there are turns where he will be able to act 6 times in a row. Am I still playing Persona 3? Because this really feels like I'm playing Nocturne again. As soon as the man starts cosplaying Moth, his expanded moveset becomes a lot harder to handle. Oh, also, he can use Revolution, which should help both of us score crits, but that's not how it works, no, mon ami! Somehow, when that move is up, I don't get crits even with all my passives, but he keeps landing crits on me, because of course he does. As I kept dying repeatedly, it became pretty clear that one part of this fight was giving me more trouble than the others. Near the end, Man will chain 2 Beast Eyes to chip away at my HP, debuff my defense with Maracunda, buff all his stats with Heat Riser, and end his turn with Concentrate. Whenever that happens, it means that on the next turn, he will hit me with a gigantic Megidoleon. Now, while Megidoleon did kill me a couple of times, surviving it isn't the problem. I can just guard to reduce its damage. The real issue lies in what happens next. To end the fight, I need to tank the Megidoleon, fully heal myself, and go for charge. Doing all these things takes 3 turns, and with how Man spams Beast Eye, I simply cannot survive long enough to land the finishing blow. There was no way around it. I had to decrease the amount of turns needed to set up. I kept thinking about this for a while until suddenly, a thought came to me. There was one skill that could solve my current issue, and that skill was Endure. Endure allows you to survive a killing blow with 1 HP. What's great about it is that since it guarantees my survival, I don't need to guard the Megidoleon anymore. This allows me to go for charge, tank the almighty attack in the same turn, and then on the next turn I can fully heal myself. Thanks to the skill cards, I could teach Endure to one of my demons. The only thing that demon absolutely needed to have was the skill charge. Giving it to Siegfried was a bad idea since I didn't want to tweak his moveset, so I had to find someone else. And fortunately for me, there was another demon in my squad who had charge, Ganesha. I taught Endure to my elephant and challenged the man once more. As the fight went on, I was able to destroy the statues while slowly whittling down the boss, but eventually, a new issue came up. I ran out of beads, meaning that fully healing myself would become troublesome. Once I realized this, I was panicking. I looked inside my inventory to see if there was anything I could use to fully heal myself, and that's when I noticed something. I still had 2 exquisite katsudons, the meals that Shinji cooked for me back when he was still alive. Seeing this rejuvenated my determination. It gave me the strength to destroy the last statue, and soon enough, I had reached the most problematic part of the battle. Come on, Ganesha. You have Endure, so I should be able to leave this. There you go. Oh, Aragaki, thank you, man. Whatever BS he goes for right now, please leave. Don't crit me, please. Ooh. Bro! Oh, that works. Come on, Siegfried, I believe in you. Sieg Chad, Crit Freed, Giga Chad. Oh, he did it! Let's go! Giga Chad, Siegfried! Woo! That was great. You know, I think it's really beautiful that in the end, the item that allowed me to go back to full health was the meal that my dear friend Shinji cooked for me. His parting gift in a way.
Looks like you're a fan, huh? Alright. I did my part to thank you. You handle the cleanup. See you around. I know it seems like I wasted your time, but it's the good memories that stay with you and get people through their struggles.
It really felt like I wasn't alone during this battle. It was as if his spirit was watching over me. I don't know if you can hear this from where you are right now, but thank you, Shinji. Thank you for everything.
The Arcana is the means by which all is revealed.
Alright everyone, we have defeated the 12 shadows, just like Ikutsuki said. The dark hour is finally over, so I'm gonna use this opportunity to promote my YouTube memberships before you click off and... Wait, what? Come to think of it, I haven't seen Aegis and Ikutsuki... I know where this is going.
Ikutsuki-san.
Surrender yourself not unto silent dusk, for the light shall fade, and soon night shall fall.
Look at his face!
Betrayal! Betrayal! I am betrayal!
What are you saying? Why would you want that?
Why, it's simple, really. Because I'm evil, persona-fied. Get it? Persona-fied?
What? Kutsuki-san! What are you trying to pull?
Persona 3. I'm evil, persona-fied. Persona-fied? It's kind of like Persona 5.
What is he saying? Is he out of his mind?
Oh, I need you to die now, by the way.
Understood.
I hate to say it, but it looks like we've been tricked, we've been backstabbed, and we've been quite possibly bamboozled. Okay, so this game has been pretty keen on showing me a lot of religious imagery. I wonder what it will show me next. This game is wild. Hey, Ikutsuki, did you even read the script? You aren't supposed to point that gun that... Oh my god! No one ever does this correctly. I kinda expected more from Ikutsuki, but honestly, this is a fitting end for someone as pathetic as him. Okay, it's time for another hangout event with Elizabeth. I wonder where we will... Wait, she wants to visit my room? Yeah, I don't think she realizes this, but when the girl you've been seeing asks if she can come to your room, that can be interpreted in a certain way.
I'm rather naive to the ways of your world, and there must have been many times when I behaved quite strangely. However, even I understand the significance of inviting a gentleman into his own room.
So you are aware, huh?
If you wouldn't mind, I'd love for you to guide me through it.
Oh, I know where this is going. I see you, game. I see you. With this, I have completed all the hangout requests, and that grants me the right to fuse the Lord of Darkness, Lucifer. It's a good thing that this guy is on my side, because otherwise... By the way, you remember that control room where Ikutsuki and the girls were spying on me? It turns out that you can go in there and watch the videotapes. Some of them can be funny, like that one tape about Aragaki. Too soon, man. But others kinda make me uncomfortable. Like the tape where you can see Mitsuru wearing a bath towel. Oh wait! Huh, I didn't know you could switch between the cameras. How huh? That's weird. I could swear that someone was watching me. Oh well. It's almost time for the school trip to Kyoto, but before we go, allow me to introduce our new friend. This is Ryoji Mochizuki, a student who showed up right after we defeated the 12 shadows. I'm sure these events aren't related. Also, Aegis really likes him.
You are dangerous.
See? They are like best friends already. By the way, in Kyoto, make sure to buy the drinks from the vending machines because they are needed for one of Liz's requests.
Oh, and I'm a pro at pillow fights. I sling them so fast they'll never see it coming.
Girls, your rooms are that way. Go on and get yourselves unpacked.
We'll see you later then.
Yeah, we'll see you later, dude.
Yes, I shall see you later, Yukari-san.
Okay, enough of this. I guess you're with us. Junpei, guy's room.
Man.
I think I'm starting to understand why Aegis is a fan-favorite character. I really wish I had nothing negative to say about this trip, but alas, I have to talk about the hot tub. Not the hot tub, what am I saying? The hot spring scene. It starts off with you and the boys chilling in the spring, but then the girls also join in.
Yes! Yukari-san and Fuka-san! Oh, this is my lucky little...
Shut up, you dumbass! They'll hear you!
And it turns into this stealth segment where you have to get out without getting caught. If you get caught, not only do you get beat up, but then the girls will also give you that look of shame once you get back to the dorm. And I'm like, what? This is clearly a misunderstanding, so why are we getting dunked on? Oh, also, I like how Maestro, of all people, calls us a group of peeping scoundrels. That's rich coming from the person who was fine spying on me while I was sleeping. I see how it is. Now, to this game's credit, if you pick the right option during this segment, you can avoid that bad outcome completely. I have a feeling that this is a running gag in this series, and I'm not looking forward to seeing more of this. You know, this story has been very depressing so far, but at the very least, watching Junpei and Chidori get closer is making me feel better. I hope these two can stay together forever.
Medea. This isn't where I belong. I've known that from the start.
Chidori! What the hell's gotten into you?
Get ready.
My heart. Unfortunately, we have reached the Chidori fight. This is one of the hardest fights in the game, and I'm not saying this because it's difficult from a gameplay standpoint.
Why? Why won't you leave me alone? I don't know. I don't know anymore. Junpei.
Chidori.
It's a hard one because it deals piercing emotional damage straight up in the feels, man. It hurts. It's a good thing that you don't have to defeat her to end the battle because I couldn't bring myself to do it. Of course these two are back. Alright, Jesus, I hope you learn how to aim with your... I already cried at this scene. I don't want to cry again. Game, why do you do this to me?
What the hell?
But wait, if she goes as far as completely reviving
Chidori, no! No! I'm crying again.
Chidori.
I'm crying again. I can feel the tears.
I love you, Junpei.
She said it. She said it.
Chidori. Say something, please. Chidori.
Oh, man. There are a lot of moments that made me cry in this game, but out of all of them, this is the one that hit me the hardest. Right after Chidori's beautiful sacrifice, Junpei obtains his persona awakening, and what really gets to me is how he differs from everyone else. During the story, your friends will get their persona to evolve into a new one after strengthening their resolve. But for Junpei, his awakening isn't an evolution. It's the fusion of his persona Hermes and Medea, Chidori's persona. And if this wasn't pulling at your heartstrings already, he also gets a new theurgy, and at the end of the animation, you can see Chidori for a couple of seconds. I jokingly refer to this game as Depression 3 Reload, and now it should be obvious to you why I do that. One thing that's worth mentioning is that if you perform a specific action during the story, it's possible to revive Chidori. Doing this is kind of bittersweet in a way, since she won't remember Junpei anymore, but personally, I chose not to do that. While the explanation for why she came back to life makes sense, I don't like how this undermines her sacrifice. Also, in a game that puts a big emphasis on accepting your own mortality, being able to revive someone kinda cheapens the message in my opinion. While preparing for the final segment of the game, I decided to complete one of Liz's side quests, called Bring Me a Christmas Present. For this one, you need to get the present from the eccentric man at the strip mall. He will only give it to you if you can show him proof of your good deeds. As long as you made sure to rescue the first missing person back in June, you should have the letter of thanks, which is what you need to obtain the present. Completing this quest rewards you with the incense box, one of the best accessories in the game. When equipped, it gives you the insta-heal skill, a passive that cures ailments at the start of your turn. Considering the amount of ailment spam you are subjected to in the endgame, this is going to be a godsend. Eventually, New Year's Eve rolled around and I had to choose. Honestly, I was tempted to pick the bad ending because it would cut down the amount of work needed to finish this video, but the masochist inside my head wouldn't settle for that, so I decided to face the fall head-on. In preparation for the promised day, I unlocked the last block of Tartar called Adama, and I destroyed everything that dared to stand in my way until I made it to the very end of that section. Since I didn't have a powerful magic demon, I went ahead and fused the Demon Lord Lucifer. What's great about Lucy is that one of his innate skills is Debilitate, and thanks to that, it will be easier for me to debuff my enemies. With Tartar taken care of, I tried to max out my remaining social links, and while I did come close, unfortunately, I wasn't able to complete Aegis's social link, the last one I was missing. It's a bit of a shame, but hey, at least I was able to finish one of the best social links in the game, Akinari Kamiki, the Sun Arcana. Akinari is a young man who has been dealt a terrible hand by fate. He is suffering from an incurable illness. Unlike most of us, every day he is reminded that he's going to die. Understandably, his outlook on his own life is quite negative, but as you keep ranking up his social link, he starts to smile more. You can only talk to him on Sundays, and because of that, I was commonly referring to Sunday as Akinari Day. While his situation was very depressing, it always felt fun to hang out with him, but things changed on November 15th. That's when Akinari told me about the story he was writing. As soon as I was made aware of this, my outlook on Sundays changed. I was still looking forward to Sundays because it meant that I could see Akinari, but once that day rolled around, I became scared. I started asking myself some questions. What if I don't see him sitting on the bench one day? What if he dies before being able to finish his story? These questions kept nagging at the back of my mind, but nevertheless, I kept meeting him day after day until Akinari told me one of the most beautiful things I ever heard in this game.
The meaning of my life isn't something I should spend my time on. It's more about how I was able to affect others. So, for me, or you, or anyone, just simply existing gives our lives meaning. People can't survive without help from others. We all depend on one another. Thank you. In the end, I'm glad that I was born.
I'm gonna be real with you, this was another moment where I cried a lot. But this time, instead of being depressed, I cried tears of joy. In the end, Akinari managed to finish his story. I haven't played the other Persona games yet, so I don't know if that's already the case, but I hope this story is referenced in one of them. As soon as you reach the month of January, you will notice that a couple of things are different. The most obvious one is the music change in the overworld. When I first heard this track, I had to put my controller down to fully process what just happened. The Polonium Mall music I heard so many times in the past had been replaced by a more melancholic tune. And while that's impactful, it's not the only thing that changed. Throughout the game, we saw how the influence of the shadows was able to turn people into the Losts. Back then, it was easy to pretend that they didn't exist because there weren't many of them, and if we couldn't ignore them, we knew that defeating a full moon shadow would save these people. But now, as you explore the city, it has become impossible to ignore the presence of the Losts. In addition to them, a cult has been gaining momentum. A cult led by a dubious messiah whose members believe that the fall will bring salvation to the world. No matter where you go, it's almost guaranteed that you will meet a member of this cult. And if you somehow manage to avoid the zealots, you will be reminded of their existence whenever you look at the numerous posters they left behind. This place that we spent so much time in is almost unrecognizable. The only thing that we have left are the memories of the city. Another thing that I found really impactful about the month of January was how it messed with the colors. Reload is a really colorful game, but as soon as you reach January, you will notice that the world looks less colorful, as if everything became desaturated. It's as if the bright flame of life was slowly being snuffed out by the arrival of Nyx. When you combine all these things, you can truly see that the world as you know it is slowly coming to an end. The path to Nyx has been opened, and the familiar foe lies in front of us. This time around, Jin's gimmick is that he can use weakness scan to exploit whatever you are weak to. But some of you might be wondering, what happens if you have no weakness? Well, allow me to show you.
What the hell? You covered up all your weaknesses? Damn cowards. Can't even handle getting knocked down.
How does it feel to be on the receiving end of the Megaten bullshit, Jin? You have no idea how happy it makes me to see him frustrated. I thought that having no weakness would make this fight easier, but sadly, I was wrong. If you have no weakness, then Jin will say, good strategy. Unfortunately,
here's a special treat just for you.
Yep, he will match your BS with his own BS, the almighty spam. This is what we call a remake of a certified classic. What makes the EX flash grenade scary is that its damage is fixed. It will always deal 200 damage, and that forces me to heal very often. It still has a chance to confuse, by the way, and based on what I just said, I'm sure you can tell how my first attempt went. To preserve my healing items, I taught the Arahan to Hecaton Kairos. Additionally, I made sure to equip the incense box and it made a big difference. With this accessory equipped, I was always able to recover from the confusion in time. Sadly, it didn't change the fact that I had to listen to this guy spamming the same voice line every time.
Here's a special treat just for you.
After enduring this torture for a couple of minutes, Siegfried brought Jin low enough to trigger a special phase. Once you get there, Jin will use his steroids and then hit you with Megiddo-Leon. Oh, Megiddo-Leon, oh god. This took me by surprise, but unfortunately for Jin, his fate was sealed the moment he failed to finish me. See, the side effect of his drugs is that they continuously drain his HP. So from there, all I had to do was stall until I could end this misery with Brave Blade Gaming. What is it that you said again? Ah yes! Here is a special treat just for you. Yeah, be gone, Jin. That's what you get. At last, the time has come to defeat Revolver Jesus once and for all. Outside of having no weakness, the main thing Jesus does is cheesing you with instant kill and status ailments. It's nothing really concerning, but things get interesting once it starts asking you questions. Apparently, he really didn't like my answer because he proceeded to steal all my MP. What is this? Dialogue choices mid-battle? It feels like I'm playing Shin Megami Tensei 4 all over again. I thought I had the fight under control, but then Jesus started hitting me with his own version of the almighty spam. As you can see, Megiddo-La is consistently dealing enough damage to two-shot me, making it impossible to attack. After realizing that Jesus would then stop spamming this move, I switched to Lucy and then I went for Debilitate to see if it would allow me to survive. And to my surprise, it did! Thanks to Lucy, I was able to attack again. Now I just need to heal my... Jesus Christ, can you guys stop with the Megiddo-Leon jump scare? That turn almost made me lose my cool, but I was able to heal up and debuff the Messiah again. From there, all it took was 2 crits from my Brave Blade Gaming to end... Wait, what?!
If so, I'll throw away my trivial pride. With my entire being, I will bring you to your knees! Salvation has come! Hypnos!
Not gonna lie, I felt my heart skip a bit on that one. With the Fioji jump scare out of the way, the rest of the fight went very smoothly. From there, I just let Siegfried do his thing, and thus, Jesus wept.
Come! This can't be.
With the Messiah and his apostle gone, nothing can stop me from challenging the final boss of the game.
Look at that! In the sky! Oh no!
Nyx?
There's no mistaking its power, even without my persona.
Ladies, gentlemen, and demons, it's finally time to talk about one of my favorite final bosses in the entire Megaten series.
The moment man devoured the fruit of knowledge, he sealed his fate. Entrusting his future to the cards, he clings to a dim hope. Yes, the Arcana is the means by which all is revealed.
This boss has it all. A great battle theme, a really cool and creepy design, as well as an awesome mechanic. This fight is a marathon with 13 phases, and in case you were curious, every single phase in this lengthy battle has no weakness. Each phase represents a major arcana, and as soon as you defeat it, you will move to the next one. I love how each of the 12 phases represent one of the full moon shadows we faced during our journey. It really builds up this fight as the culmination of everything we went through. Speaking of the phases, each one has its own set of resistances and moveset. Additionally, Nyx cannot be knocked down, so even if I crit, I will not be able to get the one more. Some of the phases resist or completely null slash, and that makes Siegfried's job a lot harder, but there is no need to worry because I've got a plan. You see, during my journey I made sure to hang out with Ken Amada. I did that because completing all his linked episodes unlocked Mikael. Fusing him gives you access to his unique drop, the Archangel Wings, and with that, you can create the coolest sword in the game, Deus Zephos. I swear, I'm not saying that because it has Deus in its name. I mean, just look at the thing! What makes Deus really cool is that it's the only weapon in the game with a piercing effect, meaning that it's capable of ignoring resistances. So thanks to Deus, I can deal a pretty good amount of damage to Nyx without the risk of slowly killing myself. Defense is pretty difficult because you have to deal with the various elements Nyx can slap you with. Ice, thunder, fire, air. I think I understand why they call this boss the Avatar. Fortunately for me, I had a couple of demons who absorbed some of her attacks, and that made getting through the phases a bit easier. And this is the perfect segue I needed to talk about my favorite aspect of this fight. Whenever you defeat a phase, you get to listen to the best monologue in video game history.
The Arcana is the means by which all is revealed. The Arcana is the means by which all is revealed. The Arcana is the means by which all is revealed.
Usually I just get annoyed when the boss spams the same voice lines over and over, but for Nyx, it just works. Out of all the phases, there are a couple that you need to watch out for. As soon as Nyx gets to the Emperor Arcana, the Avatar will imbue her sword with human pine resin. This allows her to use two powerful physical attacks, Sweep and Sunder. They might not look scary right now, but you will soon see why they are a problem. Once you get to the Hierophant, Nyx will deploy her feathers, making it easier for status effects to affect you. But hey, as long as you have the incense box, you won't have to worry about that BS. It was quite the struggle at times, but with perseverance, I managed to defeat phases after phases until I made it to the penultimate phase, the Hanged Man. This is easily one of the most problematic phases to deal with, and the reason why should be fairly obvious to you if you recall how that Hanged Man fight went. Oh, what? You crit me! What's funny is that even if you resist slash, it's still not enough because Nyx can still do this. Ah yes, Nyx just killed me once again with a crit. Because of course she did. This made me realize that I needed a new persona. While Siegfried doesn't need to worry about Sunder, he only resists Strike, and that makes surviving the God Hands complicated. After getting critted back to back, I wanted to repel Nyx's attack back at her, out of spite. Fortunately, it didn't take long to find the answer. By maxing the Hermit Arcana, I got access to the perfect persona for this situation. Behold my demon, the Great Wall of Japan, Araha Baki! Baki repels Slash naturally, and he also learns Repel Strike, making him perfect for Nyx. He also comes with Makarakan, the perfect spell to protect him from those pesky magic attacks. Additionally, I gave him a couple of skills to turn this tank into the ultimate support. With my job done, I climbed the tower and faced Nyx Avatar once more. This time around, it really felt like I was able to handle each phase of the fight. Even the dreaded Hanged Man, which used to give me a lot of trouble, was unable to pierce the defenses of the wall. And after going through the 12 major arcanas, the time had finally come for the arcana to reveal its true form.
The moment man devoured the fruit of knowledge, he sealed his fate. Entrusting his future to the cards, man clings to a dim hope. Yet the Arcana is the means by which all is revealed. Beyond the journey you have taken lies the absolute end. It matters not who you are. One thing is always certain. Death awaits all.
This is the 13th phase. Once you get to that one, you have to deal with new moves like Apocalypse, which is guaranteed to remove a huge percentage of your HP, and Night Queen. You also have to keep in mind that Nyx can still use some of the annoying attacks we saw previously, like Beast Eye or Ice Storm. This completely caught me off guard, and it's a good thing that Baki had Enduring Soul, because otherwise, I would have been cooked. After the ice move jump scare though, I always made sure to deploy my magic shield. My current problem is that I want to end the fight with Siegfried, but doing that is extremely risky because of Nyx's enhanced moveset. This prevents me from using him for the majority of this phase, but fret not, my friend, because I have the wall. Now, what do you think would win? Nyx Avatar, the Harbinger of the Fall, the Bearer of the Death Arcana, or that one dude who repels physical? Since this phase was too dangerous to handle with my other demons, I decided to let Baki do his thing. Thanks to his affinities, he was able to repel whatever physical attacks Nyx tried to use, and he could also do the same thing for magic spells with Makara Karn. I still had to worry about the unique moves or the occasional Megidolion, but Baki's unwavering tenacity ensured that I could always survive. My game plan was simple. I just sat there and watched Nyx Avatar slowly killing itself against the wall. This entire battle took a while, but after 40 minutes, her health was finally low enough. I then swapped back to my Giga Chad, clicked Brave Blade Gaming, and with that, I had managed to teach Nyx an important lesson, that the Arcana is the means by which all is revealed. Brave Blade Gaming! The Arcana is the means by which all is revealed. We won the fight, but not the battle. There is one last thing I must do, sealing Nyx's core. And while I'm going through this scripted moment, let's enjoy the song you can only hear during this specific moment. Burn My Bread.
I will.
What can we do? How can we help him?
Don't give up! We're gonna get through this, together!
Give him strength! Take my life if you must! You better come back from this! You hear me?
I don't believe it! He's going to face it all alone!
No, he's not alone! I'm not letting him die!
Don't worry about a thing, it's in my bag, so burn your dread.
You promised, didn't you? Please, you have to make it back!
Alright, let's do this.
However it's played out, lose, win, how it's laid out. Time run out and made up my mind. Son that reluctantly to this design. I got blood all over, ashes all over.
And with that, we have reached the end, but there are still two bosses that I haven't talked about, so let's go back, shall we? Remember this guy? This is the Reaper, the powerful enemy who comes to get ya if you spend too much time on the Tartarus floor. If you are playing normally, this is how the battle looks like.
Throughout heaven and earth, I alone am the reloaded one. Imaginary technique. Armageddon.
Now, if you are wondering how it looks like without Fury, well, it's quite different. You see, the Reaper is pretty challenging because he has no weakness. Oh, who am I kidding? This guy isn't worth my time. Do your thing, Siegfried. Let's go! Brave Blade Gaming! A crit! Ooh! Let's go, Siegfried! Brave Blade Gaming! And GG, voila. Reaper reaped. Yeah, he's a loser. I could have fought him at a lower level, but I didn't do it because beating the Reaper gives you a ton of EXP, and that would have made me over-leveled for the rest of the game. And with that done, I have officially completed all of Liz's requests. Now I can go to a specific location inside Tartar to meet a special foe.
I bring you Megidola.
Yeah, the super boss of this game is Elizabeth, and I'm just going to say it, I do not like this fight at all. In fact, I actively dislike it. But before I explain my reasoning, let me get something out of the way. On Merciless difficulty, you cannot beat this boss without Theurgy, and that's because of how the fight was designed. The first thing you need to know is that you cannot bring party members if you want to challenge her, so that makes soloing kinda meaningless for this boss since it's what you are expected to do. So Liz, in typical Atlus super boss fashion, has rules you need to follow. If at any point you prevent her from dealing damage by blocking, repelling, or absorbing an attack, she will immediately nuke you with this. I gotta say, it's really cool that the demon she uses to nuke you is a pixie. Demi-Fiend would be proud. The other thing I find interesting about this attack is that it's the first time I've ever heard an official pronunciation for the word Megidoleon.
I bring you Megidolon.
Huh, so it's pronounced Megidolon. If you think this changes anything for me, you are dead wrong, because in my book, there is only one way to pronounce that word. Megidoleon. So Liz has 20k HP, and this fight can be divided in 3 phases. You start in phase 1, then as soon as you drop her below 10k HP, she will fully heal herself with Diarahan, and then phase 2 will start. Now, when you drop her below 10k again, she will go for concentrate and then she will bring you Megidoleon. This is scripted, and the only way to survive is having Endure or Enduring Soul equipped on your demon. With one of those two, you will be able to survive the attack, and then you will need to defeat Elizabeth right there and then. You need to end the fight at that exact moment, because if you don't, on the next turn, Elizabeth will fully heal herself and then nuke you again. Even if you have both Endure and Enduring Soul, you will not be able to keep going because Liz will spam her Megidoleon. This is phase 3, and it's the main reason why I dislike this fight. The only way to deal with phase 3 is to defeat Liz before she gets there, but here lies the issue. At that point, she still has too much HP. On Merciless difficulty, you simply don't have the firepower to deal that much damage, unless you use a Theurgy like Armageddon. Arma always deals 9,999 damage, and that's why it's the most common way to defeat her. Usually, you have more freedom when it comes to how you want to deplete the HP bar of a boss to 0, but that's not how Liz was designed. For this fight, the goal is to deplete half of her HP bar twice, and then use your big move because it's the only way to achieve victory. This is what I take issue with. There is only one answer to this fight, and it's the most boring thing ever. So to me at least, there is not enough player expression to keep me invested. Also, there is something that I want to make clear. I have no issues with the idea that super bosses must have rules that you need to follow. But this is one of the few cases where a specific restriction has made the fight genuinely unfun for me. Typically, bosses in this series function like puzzles that you need to solve. And what feels rewarding is finding your own solution to solve these puzzles. Elizabeth is no exception to this, but for me, beating her doesn't feel rewarding because of how railroaded the experience felt. Now, while I do dislike this fight, there are a couple of interesting things that I want to mention. The first one is that you can beat her without using Armageddon. If you stack enough magic passives, the Theurgy King and I is able to deal enough damage to ensure that you can finish the fight before Elizabeth gets to use Diarahan. Secondly, I wanted to mention recent developments regarding the fight. So I really wanted to confirm if this fight could be done without Theurgy, but I didn't feel like spending time finding the answer. That's why I started brainstorming with both Doros Cares, someone who is very experienced with Elizabeth. Since dealing enough damage is extremely important for this fight, we decided to include DLC personas. These personas have unique skills called driver skills. These skills boost their respective element by 75%, and they can be stacked with other passives like amp and boost, making them very important. During our testing phase, we discovered some interesting things, but for these findings to make sense, I need to explain why finishing Elizabeth is so restrictive. Elizabeth rotates the persona she uses, and the resistances will change based on which one she has equipped at a time. When she goes for the scripted nuke, she equips Pixie, and that one makes her immune to everything except Almighty. This means that typically, you only have two ways to damage her at that stage: using Almighty or using Theurgies. While Doors and I were thinking about a way to deal with this, a thought came to me. What happens if you use a brick skill before Elizabeth switches to Pixie? So the way brick skills work is that they negate the resistance of a foe for 3 turns. And in total you have 4 elemental break skills. After I suggested this new strat, Doors redid the fight, and that allowed us to confirm that once a break skill is applied, the effect will remain active even if Elizabeth switches to a different persona. This is huge because it means that if we use Ice Break for example, Elizabeth will lose her ice immunity even if she swaps to Pixie, and that allows us to hit her with an ice attack. Unfortunately, even with that discovery, on Merciless difficulty, it's impossible to win without Theurgy. Merciless decreases the amount of damage you deal, and the penalty it applies is what's preventing us from ending the fight. But that begs the question, what about other difficulties like Hard? To find the answer, Doors also tried that on Hard mode, and it's actually possible to win without using the MC's Theurgy, but there is a catch. You still need to use Fuka's Oracle, which is her Theurgy. You need to do this because Fuka's Theurgy has a chance to give you Concentrate, and this is the only strat that allows us to go for 2 Concentrate boosted magic spells back to back before Elizabeth uses the Arahan. So even on Hard mode, doing this fight completely without Theurgy is impossible, but at least it's possible to win without using your own Theurgies. So long as you use DLC personas, of course. But what if you wanted to do it without using DLC? Well, according to Doors, on normal difficulty, it should be possible to win this fight without using Theurgy whatsoever. I thought about recording that myself, but I gave up on this idea because of one simple thing: Magic Mastery. So, Magic Mastery adds a 50% damage boost to non-almighty magic skills, and it stacks. The issue with this is that Magic Mastery is easily the most obnoxious skill to get in this game. This skill can only be obtained via skill mutation. After fusing a persona, there is a chance that a skill mutation will happen. So if you want this skill, you need to keep fusing personas and pray that the mutation gives you what you want. I don't know what the odds are, but this skill must be really rare because even after fusing for hours, I wasn't able to get it. But wait! It gets worse! Magic Mastery cannot be passed down during fusion. So on top of resetting for hours, you also need to make sure you know exactly who you want to give that skill to. Now, if doing that for one persona already sounds bad to you, imagine needing to do that for multiple personas. So yeah, I'm not going to waste more of my time. Special thanks to Doors for doing this so that I don't have to. So let's get back to the reason why I went on this journey in the first place. I wanted to know if it was possible to beat Persona 3 Reload without the power of friendship. Well, I have found the answer, and I can finally say that I have failed the task successfully. Are you surprised? Yeah, the answer is no. If we ignore the forced tutorials, it's true that I always made sure to be alone, but in the final act, while sealing Nyx's core, you can clearly see the game stating that the power of friendship surges within you. This is a scripted battle that we cannot skip, meaning that it's impossible to beat the game without the power of friendship. And honestly, I'm glad that I failed because I wouldn't have it any other way. During this entire adventure, I made sure that my friends wouldn't interfere. I shouldered the burden of combat alone because I wanted to protect them. And while it's true that I've gotten more capable through my reckless approach, doing this made me aware of my own limits. No matter how strong you are, you cannot protect everyone. And that is something that you have to accept. Additionally, in life, there are things that you simply cannot achieve alone, no matter how hard you try. But that's okay, because we don't have to be alone. To survive, you need to rely on others, and others also need to rely on you. I started this journey alone, in a new environment where I didn't know anyone. When I joined SEAS, we were essentially a bunch of co-workers completing whatever mission was given to us. But as time passed, we all grew closer and became true friends. The ordeals we survived, the hardships we went through, everything that happened strengthened our bonds. And in the end, these very bonds that we nurtured were the exact reason why we were able to prevent the fall. This game reminded me that the power of friendship is one of the most beautiful things we possess. And for that, I am grateful. Episode Aegis, the expansion for Reload, is coming in September of this year, so you can expect to see that covered on the channel once it's out. Thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to use my link in the pinned comment or description to play the game on the platform of your choosing. And for those of you who are new players or haven't played War Thunder in the last 6 months, you will get the massive bonus pack with lots of goodies. Also, there is one last thing I want to say. Persona 3 can get very depressing at times, but if there is one thing that it has taught me well, it is that there is always hope, no matter how dire your situation looks. So to you who watched this video, thank you, and please, never give up.